Dear friends,
Today
today
we
we
will
will
learn
see
DC
DC
and
distribution
systems,
systems, then how
and
DC
calculation.
distribution systems are classified. DC distribution calculation. A DC distributor may have concentrated loading, uniform loading, both concentrated and uniform loading. We will see what is a concentrated load. The concentrated loads are those which act on particular points of the distributor. Distributor. The distributed loads are those which act uniformly on all points of the distributor. Generally, distributed or uniform loading are those where the load is distributed in some equal parts. For example, DC distributor fed at one end concentrate loading. So in this figure we can see that A, B are the distributor. A is fed from the supply, then C, D, E, F are the tappings where resistance between A and C is R1, C and D is R2, D and E is R3, E and F is R4, and the current flowing from C to the load is I1, from D I2, from E I3, from F I4. So if you go for KCL equations for the feeder diagram, what we considered, let R1, R2 and R3 and R4 be resistance of both wires go and return of section AC, CD, DE, EF of the distributor. For example, if we consider current is fed from A point as source is from A, then total current I, if we consider, that is equals to I1 plus I2 plus I3 plus I4. Then if you consider the section AC, then the current, total current flowing in the AC section is I1 plus I2 plus I3 plus I4. So similarly, if you go for the section CD, the current flowing in this one will be I2 plus I3 plus I4, as from C I1 current is fed to the load. Then similarly, if you go for the section D, DE, then as from D I2 current is fed to the load, then the remaining current is I3 plus I4 that will flow in the section DE. Then you consider the last section EF, then as load currents are tapped from C1 as I1, from C as I1, from D I2, from E I3, then the remaining current flowing in the EF section will be I4. Similarly, if you go for the voltage drops for the each section, then if I consider voltage drop in the section AC, then R1 multiplied by current flowing in the AC section, that is R1 multiplied by I1 plus I2 plus I3 plus I4. Similarly, if I go for the voltage drop in section CD, then the current flowing in the section CD is I2 plus I3 plus I4 and resistance is R2. Then voltage drop in the section CD is equals to R2 multiplied by I1, I2 plus I3 plus I4. Then similarly, if you go for section DE, resistance is R3, then current flowing in that one is I3 plus I4, then the total voltage drop in DE section will be R3 multiplied by I3 plus I4. Then at the last section, if you consider EF, then the current flowing in the EF section is I4, resistance is R4, then voltage drop is R4 into I4. Then the total voltage drop in the distributor, if you consider, okay, from point A to B, then total distribution drop can be calculated, that is equals to voltage drop in the section AC plus voltage drop in the section CD plus voltage drop in the section DE plus voltage drop in the section EF. That is total voltage drop in the distributor is equals to R1 I1 plus I2 plus I3 plus I4 plus R2 multiplied by I2 plus I3 plus I4 plus R3 multiplied by I3 plus I4 plus R4 multiplied by I4. So it is very easy in this method to know the minimum potential occurring point. From the diagram we can easily say that the minimum potential will occur at point of which is far away from the feeding point A. Then we'll see one example with regard to this type of arrangement. So in this example, a 2-wire DC distributor cable AB is 2 km long and supplies a load of 100 ampere, 150 ampere, 200 ampere and 50 ampere situated 500 meters, 100 meter, 160, 1600 meter and 2000 meter from the feeding point A. Each conductor has a resistance of 0.01 ohms per 1000 meter, that is per kilometer. Calculate the potential difference at each load point if a potential difference of 300 volt is maintained at point A. Now we have to consider this example. For that one we have to draw the single line diagram of distributor, okay, AB, and we have to go for the tappings of the loads 100 amperes, 150 amperes, 200 amperes and 50 amperes. If you draw the diagram, then it is very easy to solve the example. So we'll draw, first of all we go for the drawing of the above given data. So according to above given data, see VA is equals to 300 volts, then AC, the current flowing in the AC section, the total current, if you go for that section AC, then I is equals to I1 plus I2 plus I3 plus I4, that is 100 plus 150 plus 200 plus 50, that will be 500 amperes. That is what it is shown in the diagram. So if you go for simple diagram, then only it is very easy to calculate the required parameters. Then VA is 300 volts. Similarly, we are taking tapping at C 100 amperes, tapping at D 150 amperes, tapping at E 200 amperes, tapping at B 50 amperes. So according to the earlier discussion, so the current flowing in the D between C and D will be I2 plus I3 plus I4, that is 150 plus 200 plus 50 amperes, that will be 400 amperes. Then in the section DE will be 200 plus 50 amperes, then section EB will be 50 amperes. So whenever if we know this type of if we draw this single line diagram and if we assign the parameters according to given data, then it is easy, we can easily get calculated. Then resistor per 100 meter of the distributor is equal is 2 ohms, so 2 into 0 2 into 0.1, that is 0.02 ohms. Then resistance in the section AC, RAC is equals to 0.02 into length divided by 1000, that will be 0.01 ohms. So similarly RCD 0.01 ohms, similarly RDE 0.012 ohms, similarly REB is equals to 0.008 ohms. So referring the currents in the various section of the distributor, IEB is 50 amperes, IDE is 50 plus 200, 250 amperes, ICD 400 amperes, IAC is 500 amperes. Then potential drop across each section we have to calculate. So potential drop at load C, point load C, VC is equals to voltage at VA minus voltage drop at in AC, that is VA minus IAC RAC, 300 minus 500 into 0.01, that is 295 volts. Similarly, potential at D is equals to VD is equals to VC minus potential drop across AD, then that is potential drop across CD, that will be ICD into RCD, that is 295 minus 400 into 0.01, that is equals to 291 volts. Similarly, potential at load E, VE is equals to VD minus IDE RDE. The IDE RDE is the voltage drop across DE part, then it is 288 volts. Similarly, if you go for potential drop at load B, then VB is equals to VE minus drop across EB, that is equals to IEB REB. So if you go for that one, then if you calculate that one, you will get 287.6. This is how you can calculate the various voltage drops for the case concentrate load in a DC distributor fed from one side. Now, distributor fed at both ends concentrated loading. Whenever possible, it is desirable that a long distributor should be fed at both ends instead of at one end only, since voltage drops can be considerably reduced without increasing the cross section of the conductor. So there are two types of supplied systems are there. If you the two ends of the distributor may be supplied with equal voltages and equal voltages. The two ends fed with equal voltages. If I go for that one, from this diagram we consider a distributor feeder AB, so which are equal voltage V is supplied fed from both the ends A and B. Then I considered C, D, E, F, G as concentrated loads with respective currents I1, I2, I3, I4, I5. So if we go for the circuit diagram with the help of simple KCL equation, the potential across E point will be minimum. Okay, how it will, we'll see. As we move away from one of the feeding points, for example A, potential goes on decreasing till it reaches the minimum value at some load point, so say E, and then again starts rising and becomes V volts as we reach from the other feeding point. And how it we generally see, so how to calculate that one? All currents tapped off between A and E will be supplied from feeding point A, while those tapped off between B and E will be supplied from the feeding point B. The current tapped off at point E itself will be partly supplied from A and partly from B. If these currents are X and Y, then I3 is equals to X plus 5. Therefore, we arrive at a very important conclusion that the point of minimum potential current from the both the ends of the distributor. So that is, whenever a common current from the current from feeder A and feeder B goes through any load, that will be the minimum potential point. Then we will see point of minimum potential. So it is generally desired to locate the point of minimum potential. Consider a distributor AB having three concentrated loads I1, I2 and I3 at points C, D, E respectively. Suppose that the current supplied by the feeding end A is IA, then the distribution in the various section of distributor can be worked as shown in the figure. So we will not give any incoming current from B. We will start from feeder A, but supplies from the both side of the distributor A and B of volts. For example, if we consider from the side A, IAC is equals to IA current, then ICD is equals to IA minus I1, then IDE is equals to IA minus I1 minus I2, then IEB is equals to IA minus I1 minus I2 minus I3. Then voltage drop between A and B can be calculated, that is V minus V, that we can calculate. We will get the equation IARA plus IA minus I1 RCD plus IA minus I1 I2 RDE plus IA minus I1 minus I2 minus I3 are EB. That is voltage drop across A and B is equals to voltage drop across AC, voltage drop across CD plus voltage drop across DE plus voltage drop across EB. From this equation we can calculate the value of IA as well as the other quantities are generally specified. Suppose actual direction of the currents in the various section of the distributor are indicated as per shown in the figure. If we consider, in the earlier case we had given from the one side of the feeder A, but if you consider other side, then AB, both from A and B, if the current is sent, the load point where the currents are coming from both side of the distributor is the point of minimum potential, that is point E in this case. So if I draw the conclusion that the feeder A is feeding up to E point, then feeder B is also feeding up to E point only, then I3 will possess both the currents of feeder A and feeder from the side of B, then the minimum potential point will be E. So it is very easy to identify minimum potential point when we go for the equal voltages. But when we go for the unequal voltages, we'll just go through the thing. Two ends fed with unequal voltages. The distributor AB fed with unequal voltages, and AB fed at V1 volts and end B at V2 volts. The point of minimum potential can be found by the similar way whatever we had used the technique. We have to identify point where both the currents of A and B will flow, and that point will be considered as minimum potential point. So then voltage drop across A and B is equals to V1 minus V2, that is voltage drop over AB. So we'll solve one example in this case. So a two-wire DC street mains AB 600 meter long is fed from both ends at 220 volts. Loads of 20 amperes, 40 amperes, 50 amperes and 30 amperes are tapped at distance of 100 meter, 250 meter, 400 meter, 500 meter from the end A respectively. If the area of cross section of distributor conductor is 1 centimeter square, find the minimum consumer voltage if rho is equals to 1.7 into 10 to the power of minus 6 ohms per centimeter. So from the given data, first of all you have to plot the given data in a distributor. We have to draw the feeder AB, then we have to take the tappings, then according to that one we have to distribute the distances on the diagram, then only we can calculate the resistance, and then only we can calculate further the current equations and voltage equation. We'll see how we can. So whatever given data is there, I had plotted. I had considered incoming current from A side only. Both sources are there, 220 volts. I had considered first case. Then I had calculated first of all resistance per meter. Then I got 3.4 into 10 to the power of minus 4. Then I had distributed as it is shown that one. So first section is 100 meter. Then second section CD is 150 meter, then EF section will be 100 meter, then FB section will be 100 meter. Like that it is actually distributed. Then as I know the length of the distribution section, I can calculate the resistance. RAC is equals to resistance per unit length multiplied by number of meters, that I will get RAC is equals to 0.034 ohms, then RCD is equals to 0.051 ohms, RD is equals to 0.051 ohms, REF is equals to 0.034 ohms, RFB is equals to 0.034 ohms. Then voltage at B is equals to voltage drop at A minus drop at overall length of AB. Then VB is equals to VA minus IA RAC and IA minus 20 RCD plus IA minus 60 RDE, IA minus 110 REF plus Ia minus 140 RFB. So from the diagram, so Ia will be flowing in AC, but in CD the current flowing will be Ia minus 20 as C takes 20 amperes. Then at D, in the section DE, Ia minus 60, that is as the current taken by the D is 40 and C is 20, so it is Ia minus 60. Similarly in the section EF, Ia minus 110 amperes, that is as EDC 50 40 20 has taken, that's why 50 plus 40 plus 20 amperes, Ia minus 110. Then F will take, has taken 30, then that's why the current flowing in FB is equals to Ia minus 110 plus 30, that is Ia minus 140 amperes. Then if you solve for that one, as we know the values of all the cases, VB is 220 volts. Then if you go for the calculation, then we'll get the simplification, then we'll get the current Ia, that is 61.7. If I know the current Ia, then I can calculate easily the current flowing in CD, DE, EF and FB. That is for CD section it is 41.7 amperes. Then for EF section it is 43 minus 48.3. That is if you consider EF section, so current is not, whatever the direction of current as per our assumption we had taken, it is in opposite direction. So now current whatever current we got in negative will resemble that one, the current is in the opposite direction, not from E to F, it will be, current will be F to E. So the minimum potential point in this case, we got that both A and B are feeding current to the section E. So the minimum feeding point will be, minimum potential point will be E. So the actual distribution of currents in the various section of the distributor is now shown in the figure according to the calculation whatever we made. So how I consider is, so from A to CD was positive, C to D it was positive, D to E it was positive, but from E to F it was negative. So therefore the direction of current I had changed. So from this diagram I can say that E will be having the minimum potential as both the currents are fed to this point. So it is clear that currents are coming to the load E from both the sides, from D and F, hence E is the having the minimum potential. Then what will be the minimum potential at E will be, so you can consider from the both sides, you can calculate from B side also, you can calculate from A side, but we consider from A side, we'll go for A side. VE is equals to VA minus IAC RAC plus ICD RCD plus IDE RDE, that is VA minus potential across AC, potential across DE, potential across CD we considered. Okay, that, so whatever the minimum consumer voltage what we got after calculation, that is 215.69 volts. So this is how we can calculate the whenever we have a two distributor is fed with two ends with a equal voltages. Now we'll see other case, that is distributor fed from the both side but the voltage levels are different. So we'll consider another example. So a two wire DC distributor AB is fed from both ends at feeding point A. The voltage is maintained as at 230 volts and at B 235 volts. The total length of the distributor is 200 meters and loads are tapped off as under 25 amperes at 50 meters from A, 50 amperes at 75 meters from A, 30 amperes at 100 meters from A, 40 amperes at 150 meters from A. The resistance per kilometer of the conductor is 0.3 ohms. Now we will identify the distributor parameters by drawing. Okay, then we will take the tappings for 25 amperes, 50 amperes and 30 amperes. then we'll draw a single line resembling 200 meters load, and we'll take the tamping according to the 50 meters, 70 meters, 100 meters, 150 meters from the site A. Then after drawing only we can easily solve the example. Then if you consider the given data, so whatever things are there, it is simply I had drawn. I had consider in this case also I had consider the same procedure as in the equally fed from the both side parameters. So I consider from A distributor A only the current will be flowing for assumption. Then after solving we'll get the negative direction, we can replace the diagram according to that one. First of all we have to calculate the parameters, that's why we go for one assumption that from A only current is flowing to other parts. Okay, then resistance is of 100 meter length of distributor is 1000 meter length of is 2 into 0.3, that is 0.6 ohms. Then RAC is equals to 0.03 ohms, RCD is equals to 0.015 ohms, RDE is equals to 0.015 ohms, REF is equals to 0.03 ohms. Then RFB is equals to 0.6 into 50 by 1000, that is 0.03 ohms. Then voltage at B is, if we go for that one, we'll get a relation between VB and other parameters, then we can solve. So before solving this one, so first of all we have to identify the currents flowing in all the cases. Current flowing in IA will be flowing in AC, then CD IA minus 25, and DE IA minus 75, and EF IA minus 105, FB IA minus 145, as the currents are tapped at 25, 50, 30, 40. Then if you solve for IA, then we'll get the current IA is equals to 33.34. Then if you calculate the current flowing in this section IAC, it will be 33.34 as IA. Then ICD it is 8.34. Now you can observe IDE will get negative. So we got negative minus 41.64. So whatever assumption we made, that one current is flowing from D to E, it is not at actually it is current is flowing from E to D. So now according to that I made the changes in the diagram whatever we assumed, and change the direction of the current. So similarly IF I got minus 71.66. so direction is E to F, I had changed to F to E. Similarly IFB I got minus minus 111.66 amperes from F to B, so I replaced from B to F. Now I got the actual diagram. Now I can say that from the diagram that in the at the point D, from the both sides current is incoming to the point D. So the point D, load at D is fed by the currents from the both side of the A and B. So that's why the minimum point of voltage or potential will be at D. So that can be calculated VD from either side. You can go for B side also, you can go for A side, but we calculated everything from A side, so we may continue from that side. Voltage at D, VD is equals to VA minus voltage drop across AC and voltage drop across CD. So that is VA minus IAC minus RAC plus ICD RCD. So if you calculate that one, the minimum voltage whatever we got is 228.875 volts. Now we'll go for the AC distribution calculation. AC distribution calculation differ from those of DC distribution in following aspects. In a DC system, the voltage drop is resistance alone. However, in AC system, the voltage drop are due to combined effects of resistance, inductance and capacitance. And another point, in a DC system, additions and subtraction of currents, voltages then arithmetically, but in case of AC system these operations are done vectorially. So vectors we have to consider, not simply simple addition subtraction is not allowed for a AC system. In AC system, power factor has to be taken into account. Loads tapped off from the distributor are generally at different power factors. So due to this one, the AC distribution calculations are dependent upon the consideration of power factor. So there are two ways of referring power factor, namely it may be referred to supply or receiving end voltage, which is regarded as the reference vector. It may be referred to the voltage at the load point itself. We have to consider these two cases for the calculation. We'll go for the first case. Method of solving AC distribution problems. In AC distribution calculation, power factors of various load currents have to be considered, since currents in different sections of the distributor will be vector sum of load currents and not the arithmetic sum. The power factor of load currents may be given with respect to receiving or sending end voltage with respect to load voltage itself. Power factors refer to receiving end voltage. So first case we are considering. So if we consider receiving end voltage as the reference, receiving end voltage power factor, then consider an AC distributor AB with concentrated loads of I1 and I2 tapped off at point C and B as shown in the figure. So you can see the figure, A and B are the feeder. So C and B are tapped with the loads. Then each section is having impedance. Z is equals to, for section AC is R1 plus JX1 from, and for CB is R2 plus JX2. Then C load power factor for C point is cos pi 1, and load power factor for point B is cos pi 2. Then current flowing in C is I1 and current flowing in this one will be B will be I2. So taking the receiving end voltage VB as reference vector, let lagging power factors at C and B be cos pi and cos pi 2 with respect to VB. So now we'll consider this one. Let R1 X1 and R2 X2 be the resistance and reactance of the section AC and CB of the distributor. Then if you go for a simple KVL KCL equation and going for vector form of all the parameters, if you consider, so if I consider impedance across AC, ZAC is equals to R1 plus JX1, then impedance of section CB R2 plus JX2, then load current at point C I1 is equals to I1 cos pi 1 minus J sin pi 1. So in the vector form you have to take, as all the, it is a AC system, every calculation should be in vector form. I2 is equals to I2 cos pi 2 minus J sin pi 2. Then ICB is equals to, in this section ICB, so the current flowing will be I2 current. Then in section IAC the current flowing will be I1 and I2. So in this case we have to take vector summation only, that IAC is equals to summation of IAC bar is equals to I1 bar plus I2 bar. Then voltage drop across VCB is equals to, VCB bar is equals to ICB bar multiplied by ZCB bar. Then voltage drop in section AC, VAC bar is equals to IAC bar multiplied by ZAC bar. Then so by calculating, so we'll get sending end voltage VA bar is equals to VB bar plus VCB bar plus VAC bar, and sending end current is equals to VA bar plus I1 plus I2 bar. Now we'll take V bar as a reference and we will plot according to the whatever equations we got, that is VA bar is equals to VB bar, VCB bar plus VAC bar, then IA is equals to I1 plus I2 bar. That is, we will go for a phasor diagram of this type of method. Then by taking VB as reference, and we got all the voltage equations, current equations, then we can easily plot the phasor diagram of the said system. So this is how we can plot. So if I had taken VB as reference, then I had gone for the voltage drop due to section B, then I had gone due to resistance R2 in the section I2 R2, then I had gone for perpendicular line of I2 R2, then I will get the VC potential across C. Then similarly I had gone for the voltage drop across due to the current flowing in section AC multiplied by resistance IAC R1. Then I had gone for the IAC X1 perpendicular to the this one. So if I draw the phasor diagram, so VB, so VA is equals to so I got the resultant VA as the resultance of the whole system, that is sending end voltage, and VB is the receiving end voltage. So the vector diagram of AC distributor under this condition is shown. Here the receiving end voltage VB has taken as reference vector, as power factor of the loads are given with respect to VB. So please do remember this one. Here power factors are given with respect to VB. Therefore I1 and I2 lag behind VB by pi 1 and pi 2. So this is what is the thing is. It is very simple for this kind of systems to calculate. Here the important point you have to consider while solving the numerical examples is that one, that so what is the given data, how the given data is reflected in terms of power factor. So if power factor is referred with the VB, so this method can be used. Then if the power factors are referred to the respective load voltages, now the system phasor diagram will be almost all same, but the parameters of power factor will be changing. Suppose the power factors of the loads in the previous figures are referred to their respective load voltage, then pi 1 is the phase angle between VC and I1, and pi 2 is the phase angle between VB and I2. So the major change in the earlier phasor diagram and this phasor diagram is, earlier the pi 1 angle was between VB and I1, but in this case the power factor is referred to respective voltages, so that's why the angle between V and C will be phi 1 now. Okay, so according to that arrangement, small changes in the phasor diagram if you do, the total method will be almost all same for calculating, but only the power factor values will change. Due to that one, effective magnitude values and phasor values will change in this case. So if you go for the phasor calculations, then voltage drop across section CB is equals to, now it will be I2 ZCB, then voltage at C will be VB plus drop in section VC, so that is VC at an angle of pi. Then I1 is equals to I1 bar is equals to I1 at angle of minus pi with respect to VC. Then I1 is equals to I1 minus phi 1 minus phi with respect to VB. So you have to make such a arrangement. So that is what is the difference here. Calculations will become little bit complex by referring the angles. Then I1 bar is equals to I1 cos pi 1 minus pi minus j sin pi 1 minus pi. Then IAC is equals to I1 plus I2. So as in that case, here only the position of angles will change from the earlier method. Then voltage drop in section AC is equals to IAC ZAC. Then voltage drop at A is equals to VB plus drop in CB plus drop in AC. So we'll see example for the AC systems. That is single phase AC distributor AB, 300 meters long, is fed from end A and is loaded as under 100 amperes at 0.7 power factor, 200 meters from point A, 200 ampere at 0.8 power factor lagging 300 meters from point A. The load resistance and reactance of the distributor is 0.2 ohms and 0.1 ohms per kilometer. Calculate the total voltage drop in the distributor. The load power factor referred to the voltage at the far end. So this statement is very important. So according to that statement, now you can go for the phasor diagram. Even though we without drawing the phasor diagram also we can calculate. So we have to draw the single line diagram arrangement. Now in this case he said that all the power factor are referred from B. So there is no issue in calculating. So impedance we can consider 0.2 plus j 0.1 ohms. So impedance section AC is ZAC is equals to 0.2 plus j 0.1 into 200 by 1000. So ZAC is equals to 0.04 plus j 0.2 ohms. ZCB is equals to 0.02 plus j 0.01 ohms. So taking voltage at the far end B as the reference vector, then we have I2 values we can calculate. I2 is equals to I2 bar is equals to I2 cos pi 2 minus j sin pi 2. Then load current at point C, I1 is equals to I1 cos pi 1 minus j sin pi 1. Then ICB is equals to ICB bar is equals to I2. Then IAC is equals to I1 plus I2. That is IAC bar is equals to vector sum of I1 bar plus I2 bar. So voltage drop in section CB is VC bar is equals to IC bar multiplied by ZC bar. Then VAC bar is equals to IAC bar multiplied by ZAC bar. So voltage drop in the distributor VAC bar plus VCB bar. So magnitude of voltage drop across A and B is equals to 17.85. This is how you have to calculate. You have to consider the statement how the power factor is referred. According to that you can calculate or draw the phasor diagram and you can solve the example. Now we'll see three-phase unbalanced loads. So the three-phase loads that have the same impedance and power factor in each phase are called balanced load, and if phase sequence is also same, then it is a balanced load by considering all factors. The problems on balanced load can be solved by considering one phase only, the condition in the other two phases as it is similar. However, we may come across a situation when loads are unbalanced, that is each load phase has different impedance or power factor, phase sequence. In that case, current and power in each phase will be different. In practice, we may come across the following unbalanced load: 4-wire star connected unbalanced load, unbalanced delta connected load, unbalanced 3-wire star connected load. So in general, the 3-phase 4-wire system is widely used for distribution of electric power in a commercial and industrial building. The single phase load is connected between any line and neutral wire, while a 3-phase load is connected across the 3 lines. The 3-phase 4-wire system invariably carries unbalanced current or unbalanced load. So we'll see 3-phase 4-wire star connected system. This is one of the example we can consider how loads are connected. See, if I consider 3-phase star connected system, R, Y, B are the 3 phases, and in a star connected system at the midpoint N dash is considered, where R is connected to Z1 load, Y is connected to Z2 load, and B is connected to Z3 load. So you can go for the actual connection diagram in the second right side. That is how they are connected with the neutral. Okay, so a 3-phase 4-wire unbalanced load, because it is rarely possible that single phase loads on all the 3 phases have same magnitude and power factor. Since the load is unbalanced, the line currents will be different in magnitude and displaced from one other by unequal angles. The current in the neutral will be phasor sum of all the 3 lines. That current in neutral wire IN is equals to IR plus IY plus IB, which is a phasor sum. So you can go for both single phase unbalanced load also, you can go for three phase unbalanced load. This is how the loads are connected in a unbalanced system. But you have to consider the following points while going for the connection. Since the neutral wire has negligible resistance, supply neutral N and neutral N dash will be at same potential. It means that voltage across each impedance is equal to the phase voltage of the supply. However, current in each phase will be different due to unbalanced system or unequal impedances. Then the amount of current flowing in the neutral wire will be depend upon the magnitudes of line currents and their phasor relations. In most circuits encountered in practice, the neutral current is equal to or smaller than one of line currents. Okay, so please do remember that neutral current is equal to or smaller than one of the line currents. But exception is also there. If there are severe unbalance in the system, neutral current will be more than the phase currents. Okay, so these things are we have to take into consideration. I hope you learned all the AC and DC distribution calculations. Thank you very much.